So if only seeking to prove the right's point about Trump, right? The left has decided that basically everything must be canceled, everything is racist. And here's the thing. It's like The Incredibles, right? If everybody is special, nobody is special. If everybody is canceled, nobody is canceled. If you don't actually go after people who you think deserve to be canceled on the basis of very specific behavior, you just go after everyone, you start to get ignored. You're the boy who cried cancel. And this is what the left has become. They've become the person of unspecified gender identity who calls cancel. That's what they are. And so we don't pay attention to you anymore. This is a problem. It's a problem for the right. It's a problem for the left. Because the truth is there are certain things that we all find kind of gross. And we don't want people saying. And there are social strictures to those things. But as a general rule, the left wants everybody they don't like canceled, and not just people they don't like for like a great reason, not like neo-Nazis. They'll just label everybody a white supremacist or a neo-Nazi. And this, of course, is what has driven so many Republicans to support for people like President Trump, because he is the loudest and he is the most out there and he is the person who's taken the most hits. And so people on the right now associate takes the most hits with the person who tells the truth the most, because those two things tend to be pretty highly correlated where the left is concerned. If you see the people the left likes to attack the most, very often it's the people who are saying the most things. Now, the problem is sometimes it's not, right? Sometimes the left is attacking Marjorie Taylor. Great example. Sometimes the left is attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene for Jewish space lasers. Seems like a pretty good reason to go after somebody. They believe the Jewish space lasers started a California wildfire, or they are touting the QAnon theory. But the exact same level of outrage met Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that there are two genders, which is true, as her saying that there are Jewish space lasers, which is crazy. So at a certain point, the right just says, we don't trust anything you people have to say. We don't trust anything you people have to say. It's why there is so much skepticism of the institutional media. It's why there's so much skepticism of the left when they make claims. People are not evaluating claim by claim whether the left is telling the truth. Instead, they're just ignoring the left wholesale. And the left just keeps on doing it. I mean, it's truly incredible. So, for example, Alyssa Milano is now pushing a weird theory. Okay, so CPAC's stage was built in a certain way. Okay, and usually it is kind of the hotel planner who decides how the stage is going to be set up, particularly at a place like the Hyatt. Alyssa Milano put out a graphic of sort of an aerial view of the stage, and she said, this is a Nazi symbol. She said, this is the stage at CPAC. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Hyatt, this is what's happening in your building. Ted Cruz, you stood on this stage. And she says that stage was built in order to resemble a Nazi symbol. Okay, you're a crazy person. I'm sorry, you're totally wild. You're wild and crazy. This is no less crazy than the QAnon crap. If you think that people at CPAC, that Matt Schlapp was like, you know what? We need a stage. Let's make it in the shape of a giant swastika. Nobody will catch on. To whom are you signaling? Alyssa Milano? You caught on to the code, Alyssa. But these people, like Alyssa Milano, who dressed up in like a Handmaid's Tale outfit to go to Justice Kavanaugh hearings, like that person is considered a serious human on the left. People are considered serious for calling on the Hyatt to be boycotted because they hosted CPAC. By the way, good for Hyatt. Hyatt came out and they're like, you know what? We host all sorts of conferences. Go F yourself. This, by the way, should be the response of every single corporation in America when the wokes come for them. According to Fox 26 Houston, Hyatt Hotels defended its decision to host the 2021 Conservative Political Action Conference at a time when the political climate has become increasingly volatile, citing its belief that individuals and organizations should be able to peacefully gather and express their own views. The three-day event is being held at the Hyatt Regency Orlando in Florida, featuring a slew of prominent Republican speakers, from lawmakers and former administration officials to President Trump. The spokesperson for Hyatt said, quote, "We take pride in operating a highly inclusive environment. We believe that the facilitation of gatherings is a central element of what we do as a hospitality company. We believe in the right of individuals and organizations to peacefully express their views, independent of the degree to which the perspectives of those hosting meetings and events at our hotels align with ours. Our own values support a culture that is characterized by empathy, respect, and diversity of opinions and backgrounds. We strive to bring this to light through what we do and how we engage with those in our care." And this, of course, prompted Boycott Hyatt to trend on social media. This is how you got Trump, gang. You're going to keep getting it, good and hard. This is how the right is going to continue pushing into the culture wars. The harder you push, the harder the backlash is going to be. And by the way, they are pushing unbelievably hard. The scariest story of the last couple of weeks is Amazon coming after books. I mean, digital book burnings are now a real thing. According to the Daily Wire, Amanda Prestigiacomo reporting, conservatives are sounding the alarm about an updated Amazon policy that bans books the ubiquitous billion-dollar company deems offensive or includes so-called hate speech. As noted by Daily Wire, Amazon has ramped up its censorship on conservative views in recent weeks. For example, a popular documentary on U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas was banned from their streaming service this past week. Before that move, the company deplatformed conservative Ryan Anderson's book, Critical of Gender Theory, When Harry Became Sally. When Just the News reached out to Amazon over the ban on Anderson's book, the outlet directed them to a page outlining their content guidelines for books. Under a section labeled offensive content, Amazon now states they, quote, don't sell certain content, including content we determine is hate speech, promotes the abuse or sexual exploitation of children. Okay, so I'm just going to point out that you literally have books promoting the sexual abuse and exploitation of children. When you are telling 5-year-olds that they can be members of the opposite sex and that they might want to get puberty blockers, that is the sexual abuse and exploitation of children. End of story. They say they don't sell certain content involving content they determine is hate speech. So if you say that that's bad, by the way, that's hate speech. Contains pornography, glorifies rape or pedophilia, advocates terrorism, or other material we deem inappropriate or offensive. The report says a review of those policies suggests that sometime in the last few months, Amazon made a major change to the ways in which it moderates book content on its servers, imposing a much stricter standard on books than it had previously done. It appears the company recently added so-called hate speech to their guidelines on book platforming and is amping up their censorship of the quote-unquote offensive. This is going to lead to the complete cancellation and banning of conservative books entirely. We already saw them try to do this with Abigail Schreyer's book. Abigail Shrier points out, when a company controls over 83% of the market for books, it begins the process of deleting ideas from a society. A bookseller can sell what it wants. If Marxist Books wants to only sell books that conform to its ideology, okay, that has integrity. But this is the world's largest bookseller. Amazon can basically make books disappear for all readers and does so on a blatantly dishonest basis. My understanding, by the way, is that even if you've bought these books, they may have erased them from your Kindle. So it doesn't matter if you already bought the book. Like if you have When Harry Became Sally on Amazon, like you bought it on the Kindle version, I believe they've disappeared it from the Kindle. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, this sort of stuff is what Americans are afraid of, and they should be afraid of it because it has infused all of our society. According to Ash Scal, Boston public schools have suspended advanced class enrollment tests. Right? They've decided they're no longer going to allow you to enter admission tests and new enrollments. Okay, why? Well, because they're afraid that the people who are doing well on the tests are too white and too Asian. And Asians, of course, are not a minority. When they perform well, then they're just white people. According to Ash Scal, new 5th and 6th graders will not be accepted into advanced classes in Boston, the entire city, for the next year. The entry test was suspended due to the pandemic, while at the same time, the school district has raised concerns about racial equity problems, noting that a vast majority of students in those classes are white or Asian. GBH News reported the selective program called Advanced Work Classes will suspend enrollment because of the pandemic, but also they cited concerns about equity because more than 70% of students enrolled in the program were white and Asian, even though 80% of Boston public school students are Hispanic and Black. Superintendent Brenda Casilia said there's been a lot of inequities that have been brought to light in the pandemic. There's a lot of work we have to do to be anti-racist. There it is, your code word, anti-racist. It's the infusion of this bullcrap throughout all of American culture, and you will be canceled if you disagree. And your children will be denied opportunity if you disagree. And then when you flee to a private school, they will follow you there. See, here's the thing. There are no places where you get to live your life. The left has determined that all of society is to be their safe space. It'd be one thing for them to say, okay, we just want our safe space, even in this little domain on campus. Then they declared all of campus is our safe space. Then they declared all of corporate America is our safe space. Then they declared your church is our safe space. They will soon declare that your home must also be their safe space. All of society must be their safe space because in order for them to live their most fulfilled, expressive lives, as we talked about last week, you have to acknowledge and cheer them. It is not enough for you to just say, live your life and leave me alone. That is not enough. You must accept and cheer them because, you see, your failure to cheer is an imposition on their personal happiness. You are the problem. Did you know that every like on this video creates one additional leftist tier? Don't ask me why. That's called science. To take advantage of this amazing opportunity, hit the like button.